Hello, welcome to Pure Light Awakening. I am Nina and I'm here to talk about June 2022, give you some energy updates on global scale. So if that's something that interests you, then stick around. Okay, people, so I said that I would make more videos in May, and of course I got sick again. I had another cold, and so I got totally knocked out and I couldn't do any more videos. So that's how it goes. Life happened. So, but I'm back again to do the June update. And today is quite interesting because I was told not to bring any cards today, not to talk about any crystals. I was encouraged to just show up and actually bring pencil and paper, and I have absolutely no clue as to why. So there might be something that they want to explain to you guys today. Anyway, so I'm just going to get comfortable here and I'm going to just kind of log on and see what they have to share with us. But before we get into it, I would like to say thank you so much for all your subs and likes and for being part of my journey. I hope that I can contribute on your journey. And I know it's been rough for many people. I have heard many people have trouble sleeping. I do as well. So if that's something that you have experienced, you have all my sympathy. You know, energies, of course, we react to all these huge magnets that are flying around in our solar system called planets. And of course, when they are in different constellations, I'm not an astrologer and I haven't really gotten into a lot of that, but I understand that, of course, all of this will impact us. And so I know that the full moon last time, there was also a conjunction and with planets, and also this new moon that happened yesterday. I'm taping this on the 31st of May. Also had some big impact. And of course, Mercury retrograde, all of these things have some sort of energetic impact on our planet. And that's just something I think we have to acknowledge as a fact. And even, you know, you can choose to believe in astrology or you can't, but for me, it's at least interesting to see that I find that many of the astrology predictions, if you will, they make some sense to me. So I think it's interesting to follow at least some of it. And of course, you are if you're interested, then you do so as well. I normally use planetstoday.com just to see how the planets are. Which planets are in retrograde and where they are at. Just, I find that interesting. So, but I'm not going to go into the astrology here because, as I said, I'm not an astrologer. But anyways, I felt like there was something about the planetary movements and the magnetism of the planet that had some impact on us this May. And as I said in the previous video about May, it went very quickly, just like that. And especially for me who had a cold again and was kind of had to be indoors and had to just kind of binge in front of Netflix for a couple of days there to just kind of get the days go by. So for me, May went very quickly. I don't know how it went for you. Feel free to comment about that in the comment section if you want to. Anyways, let's get into June. I have to say something about energy updates before we get into it, because the energy updates that I do is about the overall energy that I feel regarding the planet, regarding our energy fields, regarding the grid field, regarding if there is some cosmic energies kind of hitting the planet, regarding solar flares, regarding those kind of energies that's kind of in the collective. And also the collective consciousness is something we can tap into and get an overall feeling as to what it is about. However, I can never say what your individual journey is all about, because that's your journey and that's your individual journey. The only thing I can do is give you an example as to what I have been going through and what I have been feeling and how I have been maneuvering it, and also convey the messages from the spiritual realm, from the universe, on giving advice as to how we're going to maneuver our journey, both the collective energies and also your individual journey. What can we do in order for that to be the best that it can be, kind of. So I just wanted to explain that, because what I'm doing is I'm not giving predictions on your personal journey. That's not what this is about. This is the general energies and also advice on how you can maneuver your journey, okay? And, you know, the information comes from Spirit. It doesn't come from me. So that's also something I just wanted to have said. Of course, I share my personal journey as well here as a human as to what I have experienced, but that's another thing. So, okay, so I'm just going to have some water and I'm just going to sink down and we'll see what happens today. I just want to turn the phone sound on my phone off, so I don't all of a sudden have a phone call from a school or something. If I do, I'll see it and then I'll cut it. But anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to sink down and we'll see what they have to say today. So they just told me, sit down, show up, and we will guide you. I'll take off my rings. And so I have absolutely no clue what they're going to tell us. So let's see. Okay. Okay. So the first thing they're talking about is advice regarding, you know, we all have days when we are in a place where we don't believe, or we doubt. We have doubts about the entire thing. We can have doubts about even the existence of the, you know, the universal energies of God, if you will. And we can have doubts about our connection with Spirit. We can have doubts about our journey, about our life purpose, all of those things. And some days, you know, it comes to the point where you get angry. You get angry at the universe and you demand, you know, I want to have some evidence. You need to give me some messages. I feel lost here. I feel stuck. You know, on tough days, we can have those kind of feelings. What they wanted to say about that is that when you are in that place, you're actually shutting off your possibility to hear them. And so it's impossible for them to give you what you're asking for, which is evidence or, you know, some sort of communication, you know, that you want some signs, right? And if you are in that, you know, energy field where you are angry, where you are demanding, where you are, of course, in your critical self, the ego perspective, they can't reach you. And so you won't be open to hear or see the signs that they're actually giving you. So it's kind of, in order for you to believe, you kind of have to open up a little bit. Of course, in some situations, there might be things that just kind of dumps in front of you. Like you can all of a sudden see the number 444 everywhere. That's, of course, them giving you a message. But even if you are seeing all of those signs, if you are in, you know, kind of trapped in the ego perspective, sometimes we don't even see that, you know. So it's about, if you are having a rough day and if you're having trouble believing and you want them to help, you have to also be able to get out of those ties to the ego perspective. You kind of have to let those shackles go in order for you to hear what they're trying to tell you. So that was one thing that they wanted me to convey today. Okay, yeah. They're talking about healing. Okay, so there's two aspects of it. Of course, it's the healing of the planet, if you will, or healing of the consciousness as a whole. But there's also individual healing, and it's very, many people are experiencing profound deep healing now. Okay, and healing doesn't mean take away your pain. Healing means feeling through whatever it is that needs to be healed in order for it to be released. You kind of have to allow it to go through your physical energy system and then be released when it's ready to be released. You can't force it. You have to allow it. And that's something that has, all the day yesterday, I heard that over and over and over again. You cannot force it. You have to allow, 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 allow. And so that was something I did yesterday, is that I just sat down and I just opened up and I said, I allow. I allow you to heal me. I allow you to give your energy into me, you know, of the highest good, of the purest energy. I allow you to give me signs. I allow you to manipulate or to change my energy field. I allow. And I have had a profound healing happen yesterday, and it was, it totally knocked me out. I had to go to bed like 9 o'clock at night because I was so, yeah, it was heavy at the same time as it was good, because it brings up a lot of stuff that comes up to be felt. And that energy felt really heavy. It felt really, it shook me up. I felt the energy shake so quickly and so hard that I couldn't allow my muscles to do anything. I had to really just sink down all the way, because if I tried to move my muscles, I was fighting the energy. So in order for that profound healing to happen, you have to relax your entire physical form. So that was important for me. So as I said, you can't force anything. You have to allow it to happen. So you open up and you surrender and you allow. Okay. Yeah. What else? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they're asking me to bring out the pen and paper. I'm just going to, okay. Is that? Okay. They're talking about, they're going kind of back to talking about what your energy is. Where did it come from? Why are you here? Kind of thing. Okay. And so I'm just going to draw something that I drew. I'm not very good at drawing. I'm better at painting. Just to have that said. But I'm going to try and draw something that I drew some years ago. They're showing that picture to me again. And I'm going to try and explain what they mean. So I'm just going to write a little bit here. I'm sorry about this. I was not prepared for this today. Maybe I'll have to have a black pen. Just sorry here. I just need a proper pen so you guys can actually see what I'm writing. So I'm guessing a pencil won't show up so well at in the camera. So I'm going to try and draw this in a try and make it neat so you can see. Okay. Yeah, see if I can make this so that people can understand what I'm trying to say. Again, I'm sorry about this. I should have done this earlier. Okay. Okay. Sorry, that took a little while. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up and I hope that you can see what it says here. Yeah, okay. Let me try and explain this, okay? I have not done this before, but they just told me. Okay, so here you have the source, okay? That's kind of the God source energy. And the God Source energy decided to split into smaller versions to be able to go into different physical forms in order to experience, okay? That's the main purpose. And it's split out in here to different soul groups, or you can also call the soul group, you can also call that, it's not a higher self. It is beyond the higher, because we are all one, right? So it's not like it's a group of individual souls, even though it is at the same time, it isn't. So I know that there's another word for the soul group, but anyways, okay. So there's kind of a soul group here where you are different entities together, but it's also one, okay? And then that splits out to different higher selves, which is HS, and they go down into different physical forms. So that's kind of just an image that they wanted me to show you first. And then, okay. So whenever you want some information, you have that entire grid to reach to, okay? So you can reach up to your higher self, and then further up to, let's call it soul group, and then you can go over to another entity or another line, if you will, of your soul group and down, or you can go all the way up to source and then go over to an entire other soul group and get their information. So because everything is connected as in kind of this grid, then we can reach any information anywhere, okay? As not as a human, but as a higher self, of course. I'm talking about the higher self, the energy that's you, the light being that's you. So it of course doesn't look this rigid in real life, you know, but it's just for you to see the explanation as to how it's kind of woven together. So now I have to ask them why they wanted me to show this. Just a second. There's a purpose to all this, I know. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. Now, so what there's several things they wanted me to explain here. So when we are in that aspect where we are only light, when we are only the higher self, or we merge back to the soul group, or even merge back to source, as I said, you can go anywhere with your consciousness. You can experience anything on any planet, in any universe, in any dimension, anywhere. You have that capacity. And so the first thing what they wanted me to say is that because we can do that, there is no need for you to live many lives in order for you to experience, because all the experience is already out there in the grid. All the experience is already being experienced by other parts of the grid. So you kind of just have to connect. You can choose to be one of those beams out of the source that comes down in the physical form, which is what you have done now. You have chosen to be one of the beams that went all the way into the physical form. But we don't have to in order to experience, but that's a choice, because we want to feel. We want to feel the experience. But we are all woven together in this grid, you know, at one with source, where we emerge from source, as I've shown you. Which also tells you that, I mean, source, energy, God, knows anything, right? I mean, it's the master of the universe, if you will. So, since you are a part of that, what is it that you as a soul need to learn? Nothing. Nothing at all. You as a soul, you as a higher self, you as a light being don't need to learn anything at all. The human, however, can learn things. If you as a higher self have chosen that your human is to awaken, or your human is to learn these things. You might have come down to this planet, or many people have come down to this planet with the choice of not doing that awakening process. They wanted to experience what it was like to be 100% in the human form, believing that they were the human. That's also a choice, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. So it's all these different experiences. If God Source wanted to split and wanted to experience everything, then they have to experience everything. Also the person who chose not to awaken. Also the person who hurt someone else, you know? And it's all equally beautiful. I know that's hard to swallow, but it is. As a human, we have a problem with that, and that's totally beautiful as well. The human must be allowed to feel what it is that it feels. And you as a higher being, you as a light being, is just the observer of that. So you observe the human, watching maybe something grim on the news. And you watch your human react with sorrow. And you as a higher self will say, so that's what it feels like. Okay. And then it will move on to the next experience. So that's what that feels like. So that's kind of why we're here. We're here to experience and to feel what it's like to be a human. Because the human form, which is physical, which is a lower vibrational energy than non-physical energies, will have that specter of emotions and specter of a way of perceiving things that others will not. It's a different way of experiencing. And that's why it's so interesting to be here on the planet as a human. Okay? And many, of course, go into animals to experience what it's like to be an animal. So you can choose to come back if you want to several times. Some people do, some people don't, or some lights do and some lights don't. It's not necessary though, because as I said, we all have the grid there where we can kind of pick all those experiences from other parts of us that has already experienced it, meaning another life, another person. Okay, but it's a choice. It is the light being's choice. So they just wanted me to explain that. Is there anything else? Okay, yeah. Okay, so why they were kind of telling this as well is to, when you know this and you get into the observer in you, which is your higher self or your light being, it's a lot easier to maneuver everything that's happening around you. The things that are emotional in a negative way for the human. We are supposed to feel it. You're not supposed to run away from the feelings. You're supposed to feel it. However, you don't have to be stuck in it for a long time, or you don't have to necessarily allow the ego to make you repeat it over and over again, or to enhance the negative emotion. That's a choice as well. It's nothing wrong with ego. It's nothing wrong if ego does that, but it helps you, if you're a person who has chosen to come here and do the awakening process, it helps you to feel it and then maybe step back into the observer and remembering who you truly are. Because your human isn't you. It's a prolonged part of you. It's like you are the hand and the human is the glove. Okay? So you steer the glove, not the other way around. And when you leave here, you take your hand with you, but you don't take your glove with you. So you are not the human. You are the energy that's inside and around the human. Your consciousness lives on, but your human don't, right? So it's a remembrance of who you are, and that you are just here to experience through that human. And that will help you on the way during this life when you bump up against energies that is hurtful and difficult for the human. Okay? But feel it through. Don't escape it. Allow it to happen. Allow it. But just remember who you are was kind of the main message of this entire thing here. Okay. So what else, Spirit? What else do you have for us today? Okay, they're talking about sunstorms and flares. Okay, so there are... Okay. Okay. So there has been some flares and some storms not so long ago that has kind of shook, as some people might feel it as almost like somebody's pushing you from the side. So you feel like, ooh, and you get nauseous. And that's kind of what sunstorms can do to you, just to have that said. I feel like there might be slower or less sunstorms, at least in the beginning of June. But I feel like there might be some peaks coming later in June. That's just the feeling I get when they're kind of showing me June month, just to have that set. So if you're someone who reacts to the sunstorms, then just kind of heads up on that. I feel like it's going to be a quieter month. They're not really showing me a lot of things happening. They keep coming back to the healing, okay, the deep wound healing of the planet. So it's a planetary thing. It's of course maybe individual as well, but the planetary, it's kind of a deep wound kind of healing. Like there's so many things that have come to the surface these last couple of years. Like I watched a documentary the other day about the gymnasts in the US and the abuse that happened there. I was a gymnast myself when I was young, so it kind of resonated very much with me. And so those kind of things are coming to the surface, and you know, these things that has been happening also in the US lately regarding children dying and things like that. You know, it's a deep wound that is now, it's coming to the surface to be healed, okay? It's coming to the surface to be felt through and healed. So there are some major shifts going to happen within those kind of deep wounds, is what I feel, okay? There is an uprising of the people. The people kind of are rising up and saying no more, enough. You know, people are demanding to be treated in the right way, and all of these kind of deep wounds are coming up, is what I feel. It's very much, this year is very much about, as I've said in the beginning of the year as well, the individual standing up for themselves, and also to coming together and standing up for themselves. So I feel like that's also going to continue now this summer as well. So let me just see if there's something else I would like to address. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So what they're saying is that there's a very thin veil now in between this world and their world, kind of, and it's easier, they say, to sit down and ask for help and ask for healing in this deep kind of wound that we are in as a planet. So they're saying, ask more, ask for help more, ask for healing more, ask for help to feel things through more, ask for more energy into the physical form more. It's kind of easier access, is what I feel they're trying to say. They're very much present, they're very much here, they're very much giving that energy to the planet as a whole, to the animals, to the grid, as I've been talking about before. And it's almost like the veil is right here. So you just have to almost reach out and grab it, you know, or just hold out your hand and say, please take my hand, please guide me, please give me healing, please help me through this, help me feel this through. And not give me healing as in take something away, but help give me the energy I need to feel this through and replace it with new energy. That's kind of what it is, the healing process. So they're kind of saying that they're very close now. And so they're inviting us to use them more, to ask for more help and to feel them more. And I've been talking about this for a while, that, you know, we are there, the energies are so refined and so close to us now that we're going to feel it a lot more in the physical form as well, in the energy field. And as I'm talking about that, I feel a tingling in my hands and my fingers happening. It's just when you kind of just feel out into the air and ask them to be there, you feel them. Okay, so that might be an exercise you can do. Just hold your hands out and just feel the energy of them being there. Whomever you want to have there. If it's Christ, if it's Mary Magdalene, if it's Mother Mary, if it's the angels, if it's God, the energy itself. Whatever you want. Ask and it will be there. Okay? It's that powerful right now. So that's kind of the invitation from them, and remembering who you are, as I kind of try to explain a little bit with my funny drawing here, you know. So, but remembering that and connecting more. They're very much inviting us to connect more. Okay. Is there anything else? Yeah. Okay, so they're inviting us to share again. It has been a topic for the past year or so. Share, share, share. So, I mean, feel free to share in the comment section on the video itself if you want to, and other people can read and we can connect that way with each other. Or share with your friends, share with your family, share your journey, your experiences. I think it's time to really step out of that closet that says spiritual, you know, because I think most people on the planet actually are spiritual in some way, shape, or form. They believe in something higher than themselves. I believe it's like 90% or 95% of the population of this planet believe in something higher than themselves. So pretty much everybody is spiritual, more or less. But it's just not talked about so much. So I think it's time to just step out and say, hey, dude, I'm spiritual. So I believe in God or angels or whatever it is. So it's time, I feel. Okay, so they're very much encouraging us to share and also share with each other so we can help each other on tough days, because we all have those tough days. As I said in the beginning, we all have days where we feel like just giving up, or just, oh, I don't believe in this anymore, or why is this happening to me? You know, where we get into that a roundabout with the ego, you know, that kind of keeps throwing us back into situations and thought processes that we thought we were done with. And a little pointer on that, if it's just a thought process and you don't feel anything, it's just ego making up all sorts of stories. If you feel something come up, it means that you're not totally done with it. So you just feel that through again, release, and then move on. And if, you know, so in that sense, what ego does isn't so bad after all, because if it is something that needs to be looked at and needs to be felt through, then let it come, right? But just don't get stuck in it, and don't let ego make it into be a lot more dark than it needs to be. Okay, so after you felt it through, you remember who you are, you know, so that ego won't make it into being a whole lot worse than it needs to be. Okay, so that was that. That was all they had actually for this month, and there might be, if I don't get another cold, so I might try and make some more videos in June. But that was kind of what they had to say. And you know, I as I said, I don't do predictions. I just convey what they tell me, and I feel into what energies we might bump up against as a collective. And your journey is your individual journey. So it's not predictions, it's just feeling the energies, and that's kind of what I do. So take that as it resonates, okay? So I hope that you enjoyed this video. As I said, feel free to comment and let us kind of help each other along the way if we can. And I hope to make more videos in June. I'm going to try to, at least, maybe some outdoors walking videos. I want to try and do some walking. And I wish you the very best. Thank you for being part of this video. Until the next time I see you. Bye.